Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting, as we always are, inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful and rainy Alpharetta. Hopefully we'll dry out one of these days. If you're looking for a better banking experience for your business, if you've been mega banked one too many times, and you know what I mean by that, if you're at one of those mega banks, give Renaissance Bank a try. I can tell you from my own experience in working with them and the clients that I work with on my clients' behalf, that they deliver personal service, Renaissance does, but they have all the services that the big banks do that will satisfy the needs of your small, medium-sized business. So if you need a better banking experience, go to renaissancebank.com and find one of their local offices there and give them a call. And I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome insurance guy Joseph Avena is with us. Joseph, welcome.
Good morning. Welcome. Well, it's good to be here.
It's great to have you here. And you are known as Insurance Guy Joe, but so we know you do insurance, but let's talk about specifically what kind. How you serving folks out there?
Well, we help individuals, families, and small businesses, self-employed small business owners, find affordable health coverage solutions based on where they live or where their business is located.
Mm-hmm. Affordable healthcare insurance? I thought that was a contradiction in terms.
It can be, yeah.
If you're not with Insurance Guy Joe, it is, right? Talk about that. Talk about how you help folks with affordable health insurance. How does that work?
Well, like I said, my wife and I, we work together.
Okay.
And we're licensed in 38 states nationwide. And what we can do, because of our appointments, we can shop all of the plans on and off the marketplace. And that's important because since the internet has become so popular, a lot of people feel that, they can do it themselves. And there are certain things you can and should do yourself, or at least attempt to. But when it comes to something as important as your health coverage, I strongly recommend, get with a professional. Get with somebody that has more options than what you can just find yourself online, because 2/3 of the plan options that are available are not even available to people that can just search the internet. They're only put in the hands of appointed agents. And there's some really, really good options out there. So you talked about the marketplace. What is the marketplace for those that don't know? What does that mean? The marketplace, I'm referring to the plans that are available through their individual state exchange.
Okay.
Many states, you have to utilize healthcare.gov. Okay. But there are a handful of states that they have their own individual exchange. States like Pennsylvania, Colorado, Maryland. But states like Georgia, you can go to healthcare.gov. We can help you shop those plans through that exchange if that's the best option for you. But there's other options depending on your situation that we can also present based on your needs. We help educate you on those options so that when you make the decision, you clearly understand what is behind that premium that you're paying. Because too many people just want to get, I want the cheap, I don't want to pay too much. Well, sometimes you get what you pay for. Okay? Right. Doesn't mean you have to overpay for good coverage. It just means you need to understand what exactly are you paying for. Is that plan gonna meet your needs and the needs of your family, the individuals in your family?
So the marketplace in each state is really all those health insurance companies that are licensed to do business in that state, right? I mean, and that's kind of the way the regulation works, state by state.
Correct.
Okay. So, but the devil, as you mentioned, is in the details, as the old cliche goes, and it's a cliche for a reason, because it's true. And I can't think of anything that has more details than a health insurance coverage or health insurance policy, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of small print.
Yeah. And so you specialize in reading small print.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So what are some of those details? I mean, let's talk about this for a second. How are some of the ways people might get tripped up if they're doing this on their own?
Well, as I stated before, sometimes when people are doing it on their own, they're just looking for the lowest cost plan, right? But does that plan have the doctors in network that they need to see? Is that plan going to satisfy what their use of that plan is going to be, right? Everybody's different. Some people, they just need coverage in case something major happens, but you know what? They like to travel. They like to, they're active outdoors. They want to make sure, they have protection in case there's a major injury or illness. Some people have more daily or weekly or monthly needs, right? Maybe they have a significant existing condition, and it's important not only that this primary care is in network, but this particular specialist, and maybe they go a couple times a month. So are there copays? If so, what are the copays? What are their, it's not always easy to get an exact cost of doctor's visits, but we can narrow it down based on, what their expected usage of that plan is going to be. And we just help identify the plans based on their needs, and then educate them, show them several different plan options so that when they pick a plan, they know exactly how it's going to work for them.
So I'm going to pick an extreme here. And I'm using this as an example to see if I understand. Okay. So if I'm a skydiver, I don't want to have a health insurance policy that has a skydiving exemption, right? That if I get any injuries from skydiving, that they're not covered.
That's correct. Yeah. You want to, if that's what your profession is, yes, you want something that's going to have coverage for that.
Or if it's my pastime, right? I mean, you're going to ask me questions that get into what my life is all about and help fit that profile to the right policy.
Correct.
Can't get any better than that. Joseph Avena, folks. He is Insurance Guy Joe. And what's your wife's name?
Diana.
Diana. Shout out to Diana. And the two of you work together. So
we do. In fact, when I was reminding my wife of this, she goes, "Oh, I remember, John. She did an interview with you a long time ago."
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. She used to own the Roswell Ghost Tour for
that's right.
19 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, she's like, "Say hi to him." I'm like, "Of course."
Hi, Diana. That cool in Roswell. If you haven't done that, folks, Roswell Ghost Tour. So let's shift gears for just a second, since we're talking about the personal side of things. Why insurance for you? I mean, why in your entrepreneurial journey? Why insurance? Why in the world are you selling health insurance coverage, Joe?
Well, that's such a great question. I never would have thought, 10 years ago, hey, I want to sell insurance. It was just something that after a 20-year career at UPS, I was in operations. It was time for a change. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did pay somebody a lot of money to put together a resume because after working 20 years at a corporate position, I wasn't up to speed on interviewing.
Right.
But the resume was beautiful, but it highlighted that operations career, and that's what I was trying to get away from. So it was just the companies that were interested in interviewing with me were, same stuff, different day. Fast forward about 45 days after leaving UPS, I got that wonderful letter that said, "Hey, congratulations, you no longer have health coverage. You can opt into Cobra if you like." And that was significantly more than I was paying, and I decided, well, I'm going to be one of those people that's going to just do it myself. Went online, thought I was requesting quotes for health insurance. Turns out it was what's called a landing page. And, within 3 seconds of hitting enter, my phone just would not stop ringing.
Oh, dear Lord.
I was getting emails and text messages, and I just knew I had to get something for my family. And I was one of those that I just went with the what I thought, was the cheapest plan, because at the time I wasn't working, I didn't have any income, and that's what really kind of lit the fire, because I was like, I'm not the only person in this situation. There's got to be affordable health coverage options out there. And that's really what got me into this is I was like, I can do that. And I can do it in a way that I can provide a service and help people at the same time.
Right. What a great story. And you've been at this how long, Joe?
It's almost 6 years now.
Wow.
It'll be 6 years this May. Yeah.
And just in 6 years, we've seen so much change, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. And really the secular trend you have nothing to do with this. I mean, this is the insurance companies themselves and the healthcare industry, but the secular trend in premiums is up, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
every year is going to be a little bit more than the previous year, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that, that are behind that, whether it's inflation. A lot of it has to do with the lack of transparency as well. I mean, just, if you're shopping for a car, whether it's in person or online, I mean, what's the first thing you see is a price tag, right?
Right.
Details everything that's you're paying for that is part of that price tag. Unfortunately, you can go to a business complex with 5 or 6 or 10 doctor's offices, and there's no menu out front that says this is what we bill, and every doctor can bill a different amount for the same service that's provided. So, and unfortunately, insurance companies have to work around that, and that's part of their cost structure.
Right. Yeah, and in asking that question, I'm getting to a point, which is I can see how some people, they make a choice, they get with a plan, and inertia takes over, and they never really review that plan, right? And it really necessitates, I guess what I'm getting to is it's really important to review your plan every year, right?
At least once a year, you should. And
right.
And we encourage that with our clients. Hey, if you ever want to review this, just get with us, let us know. We'd be happy to compare it to other options because, options change from year to year as far as what's available. And it never hurts to review the plan that you currently have. And
you're going to help advise your clients on maybe a change they ought to make based on their lifestyle or based on the particulars of an insurance company or whatever, right?
Well,
sometimes.
I mean, we, when we do the comparison, we will compare what they currently have to other options, but ultimately it's their decision to make.
Sure.
Right?
Of course.
If they ask for our opinion, we'll give that. So we're careful about, not necessarily giving advice as much as
giving options.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Which is the most valuable thing of all.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, because people like options, and options are a good thing. But let's talk about some specific terms, because I think these are terms, as I said before we came on the air, I don't know the answer to these questions. I mean, and I do tons of these interviews, and I'm in the business world all the time. What's the difference between an HMO and a PPO?
Okay, great question. HMO stands for Health Maintenance Organization. PPO is Patient Preferred Organization. HMOs are controlled networks where the physicians, they're going to have contracts with the providers, but they're smaller networks. Okay, with an HMO, traditionally, the insurance company is going to have you pick a primary care provider. In the past, it was, you probably heard the term gatekeeper. That's the person you're going to go to for everything. Okay. In most cases, they're going to require a referral to see a specialist. Now, there's some HMOs that have done away with that, but for the most part, they still want you to have that primary care provider because that's a controlled cost on their part. Okay. HMOs tend to have limited networks as well, meaning they're if you have an HMO here in Georgia, your coverage does not go outside of Georgia. Okay, it's only going to be within that network, and there's no coverage outside the network. PPOs are very popular because not only do the plans pay benefits whether you're in or outside the network, you can go to any doctor, any hospital, and most PPOs have nationwide coverage, and they don't require referrals for specialists, so you can have a primary care, but you don't have to designate a particular provider as a primary care provider. But the nice thing is, worst case scenario, what if your worst dreams come true and something major happens, or you're diagnosed with something very serious, and you do your research and you find out, hey, the physician that's most talented and best to handle that situation, maybe they're in a different state. Okay, well, HMO is not going to let you do that.
Right.
PPO will.
Yeah. Now, are PPOs more expensive generally because of that? Because it sounds like that flexibility. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of a cost to that, right?
It all depends.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, it depends on where the plans are coming from. If it's a marketplace plan and the state has a PPO, it's going to be more expensive. If it's a private plan, it might actually be less expensive. Many of the private plan options that are out there that people just don't have access to, they're medically underwritten, kind of the way old school insurance used to be. They're not part of the individual exchange. They're not subject to the same mandates, but because they're medically underwritten, they can tell people that can't qualify, we're not going to underwrite you. And as a result, when they know their risk pool, the people that can qualify with their health can actually get a PPO plan with better coverage for less.
Yeah. And again, more expensive is not always bad. If you get more flexibility with it, that's a good thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because sometimes in fact, almost all the time, you get what you pay for. Let's do more term definition here. Open enrollment. We hear this term all the time. What does that mean?
Open enrollment is, that's a term that the government came out with for the plans that are available through the state exchange. Okay. For the general public, open enrollment is typically November 1st through January 15th. Some states extend it to January 30th. Now, there are also what's called special enrollment periods. Okay, if you have a qualifying life event, meaning maybe it's not during open enrollment, but you lose coverage of your plan, your ACA plan, whether it's through an employer. Well, it's going to be through an employer. You have, at that point, it creates a 60-day window, okay, of a special open enrollment for just you and the people that lost coverage. So there's, a static open enrollment, and then there's a moving one if you lose coverage of that ACA plan through an employer during a non-open enrollment window. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense because you have to have contingencies. I mean, people unfortunately get laid off all year long, right? So they need that to be able to take care of their health insurance needs sometimes in the middle of the year.
Exactly.
So what's the process, Joe? I mean, we've talked a little bit about this, but what's the process when somebody needs coverage? What do you need from them to best assess their needs?
Well, some of the basics is we need their zip code. Okay. The plans that are available to individuals, families, small businesses, it's all based on their zip code where they live. Okay. Then we need dates of birth. We need gender, male or female. Depending on the situation, we might need adjusted gross income expected for that year. We'll need to know what doctors are they trying to keep in network, right? Some people, I got to have this pediatrician for my kid, or I need to have my, primary care. Some people are like, I don't care. So, we want to know what are their, the basic information, right, is what we need to get started, but we want to know what their must-haves are. What is it that they want the plan to do for them? And, all of that combined is what we take back, and then we go research based on that information to find the best plan options within that criteria, that set of, data. We present it to them, and we educate them on those plan options.
So this is really good to know. So if I'm in a particular zip code, I may have more coverage options than someone 3 zip codes over.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so just because a company is licensed to do business in Georgia doesn't mean they're doing business in all of Georgia.
That is correct.
So that's enlightening because are we ever going to get to a point where people are they're shopping for homes based on health insurance coverage, not just schools? Or are we going to get to that point, Joe?
I hope not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Another good reason to be in touch with insurance guy Joe. That's a lot of complication right there.
There can be.
Yeah. So let's get to the real zinger of a question. How much does it cost for your services?
Our services are free.
Now, come on.
Yeah, no, we don't charge for our services.
How does that work?
Well, how it works is we are, if you go with one of the plan options that's available and it's a agency or an insurance company that we're contracted with, and then we get a commission from the insurance company itself. So there's no cost to our customers, our clients whatsoever. And the services that we provide after that, there's no charge. And what I mean by that is we don't just, help you find a plan and then, say goodbye.
Right.
We exchange contact information so that if you ever have a question, you need help with something, we're there to help advocate for you as much as we can or as much as that insurance company will allow us to.
Yeah. And just to be clear, because clarity in this case is a really good thing. Because your commission is a part of that premium does not mean that people are paying more, right? I mean, if they went directly to that insurance company for the same exact coverage, they'd be paying the same premium, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically the insurance company is giving up a little bit of their profit to pay you a commission to help help bring clients, right? I mean, or to assist clients in the way you do.
Exactly. That's correct.
Yeah. So this is important to understand because I think a lot of people, that's what they think, right? When they hear this, there's a catch to it, and there is no catch.
That's correct. Yeah. There's no surcharge, no upcharge. It's
right.
We are compensated by the insurance company.
Terrific. So what is the, other than just simply the fact that people are doing it on their own, I'm talking getting to mistakes that people make. I mean, what are some of the big issues that you think people need to be aware of as they shop for health insurance coverage?
Well, I think the biggest issue is just making sure you're getting the right coverage for your needs. Okay. Something you brought up earlier was the cost, or, is it expensive? I try to educate my clients or our clients on that. It's not about the cost, it's about the value. Okay. Because there's a difference between cost and value. The value is you might pay less, you might pay more, but it's going to do what you want it to do when you need it to work for you.
Right.
Okay. Cost is something that you just paying, not realizing, when you use it, it's not working the way you need it to, and you're going to end up paying more for it when you use it.
Right. You're talking my language now, value. So let's pivot towards success stories. I'd love it. Maybe Joe, if you could share a success story, a client situation. Of course, you don't have to use names, of course, but a client situation that illustrates the great work that you do.
Okay. Well, there's a small business that came to us prior or the beginning of this last open enrollment, and they had a group plan. They only had a handful of employees, but had a group plan that was going up over 25% in premium. And it was too much for the small business owner to continue paying. But they really, really understand the importance of having benefits, having health coverage options for the employees. So they came to us. We presented them with many different options. And not only did we get the employees better coverage at a lower rate, so it saved the business owner a lot of money. And the employees got the coverage they needed, and it was specific to their needs. So rather than helping just, hey, here's another group plan, might be good for this one person, but not necessarily good for the other four.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get them individual plans that were specific to their needs, ultimately getting them better coverage and saving the business owner as well.
Oh, wow. Great work. And just to be clear, you're not just saving in terms of cost for that business owner. You're saving potentially turnover, right? And that's even more costly than the premium.
Exactly.
Because when you're able to give employees the benefits that they're looking for, that helps wed them to that employer.
Well, exactly. I mean, studies show that people will leave an employer to go to another employer for less pay if they're going to get some sort of benefit package. So if you can continue to offer those benefits, it's not that the current employer needs to pay them less. It just means they're less likely to leave. To your point, they're going to be more, hey, look, this employer cares about me. I'm going to stay here.
And so again, back to the profiling work that you do, the due diligence you do with a client, just the same way it works with an individual, it works that way with the business. I mean, you're looking at the entire package that they currently have and asking questions about what's important to them and their employees, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Wow, great work from Joseph Avena, folks. Insurance Guy Joe, health insurance, 6 years and running now and doing great work. And we're just delighted you came in and we could celebrate that work and honor that work. So thank you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. I'm excited to be here. I was looking forward to it. I think I lost a little sleep last night.
Oh, come on.
Couldn't wait.
See, I'm the one that ought to be nervous because I know nothing about this. And so I'm just delighted I could hang in there for 30 minutes and ask you a few questions. So
you've made this so much fun and so easy. More people should do this with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you and appreciate the work you're doing. But I want to do something a little different here because see, when we're at the North Fulton Chamber together, you've got a way of differentiating yourself that involves some corniness.
Yes.
So give us one.
Yes, I've been known for telling dad jokes.
Okay, give us one.
All right.
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, here's I know this is one that you've heard before, I think, but how do you follow Will Smith in the snow? Just look for the Fresh Prince.
See what I mean, folks? I love it. I love it. Some of your jokes are actually funny.
Yeah. Sometimes they do. And it's by accident, by sheer accident. It was something that I had when I was listening to some, I guess you can call them self-help audio, tapes.
Right.
It had to do with networking. One of the things they talked about was the psychology behind an elevator pitch. Okay. And what they discussed is that the vast majority, over 70% of people they're not paying attention. Their eyes are glued to their cell phone, smartphone, whatever. However, the brain is instinctively triggered to react to a question, which is why I start with a dad joke, right? What do you call a lazy kangaroo? Well, the brain is going to stop what it's doing and try to answer the question. It's going to want to know the answer. So it's a subconscious way of making them change their focus to you instead of what they were doing. So
I love that.
Yeah, regardless if it's funny or not, it works to get people's attention.
Well, so what is the answer to the lazy kangaroo question?
Oh, they're a pouch potato.
Jeez. Oh, dear. I love it. Joseph Avena, folks, Insurance Guy Joe. And, hey, another shout-out to Diana. We want to get to the most important question, which is how folks can find you if they'd like to know more and learn more about your services.
All right. Well, I mean, the easiest way is to call or text. My number, can I give my number?
Absolutely.
It's 404-644-8072. You can text IGJ, which is the abbreviations of Insurance Guy Joe, to 21,000. You'll get my digital business card there. Or you can just search for Insurance Guy Joe on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and it'll pull me right up.
Instagram, you're there. All those platforms. So, folks, Insurance Guy Joe, Joseph Avena. Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure here too, John.
Thank you. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder. If you've got some coverage problems in your business that don't involve insurance, but they involve administrative tasks and bookkeeping and marketing, you're not covering all that right because you're trying to do all of it. Well, I've got a solution for you. It involves calling the great folks at Office Angels. They've got a whole team of angels that fly in, get the job done, and fly out. And they do it on an ongoing or as-needed basis. And Essie Escobedo, she's terrific. Call her at 770-442-9246 or go to officeangels.us. Essie will find the angel that best fits your needs that can get those needs solved. I know that myself because I work with them and they do great work. So if you're having problems with your back office, Office Angels can help. And just an announcement. I've got a book coming out in 2023. It's called The Price and Value Journey. Raise your confidence, your value, and your prices using the generosity mindset. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to pricevaluejourney.com to sign up and receive updates on the book release. And I thank you for your interest on that. And also thank you for listening to this show and continuing to do so for now going on almost 7 years. We're at show number over 600 now. And we've gotten this far because of your support and how you share the show. You like it. You subscribe to it on your favorite podcast app. And we're grateful because you help us fulfill our mission of celebrating the work of business leaders like Joe in our community. So thank you for your support. So for my guest, Insurance Guy Joe, Joseph Avena, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.